the 10 components in paper 1. So now when I talk about research aptitude, as you can see, there are total 9 most important components in which this unit has been divided. I'm just giving you a brief classification of the same. Uh, Moving forward, first we will be today doing about research, meaning its types and characteristics. A lot of questions have been asked from characteristics, which might sound very basic to all of you, but when the questions are asked, it becomes very difficult to answer. So what we will do is we will study just the keywords that are very important, so that any kind of question that has been formed, we will able to analyze with the help of the keywords. So whenever we are studying, keywords plays a very important role when I'm talking about any topic that we are studying. Then we will see what is positivism and post-positivism in research. And then we will see the methods of research. We will see different types of methods for how the research has been done. And this qualitative and quantitative method is actually given in your syllabus here as part 4. But we are taking it today itself in part 3 because it is a kind of a method of research itself. Then one additional topic that is not mentioned explicitly here in the syllabus, but we'll be doing that, that is sampling, because a lot of question comes from the topic of sampling. Then we will be doing the steps of research. What are the steps, how we have to do that, what is thesis, and how do we do article writing. That will be tomorrow. And the last day we will be doing formats and styles of referencing. What are the modern applications used in ICT and research, and what is research ethics. So this is a brief overview about what we will be covering in the next 3 days. Now starting with the topic that is research, the basic meaning. So see, any knowledge in this world is not exclusive, or there is something new that we are doing. Everything that we do today is already been done somewhere at some point of time. It is just to us that we come to know about this fact that this knowledge is new to us. So whatever we are doing, finding, or doing anything in any domain is just searching again the new knowledge, that is called as research. That is why we are never finding a knowledge, or we are never creating a new knowledge. It is just the knowledge that is already existing. We are just refining that knowledge, and in a very niche area, so we try to bring some conclusions. This is a very important thing. Whenever I talk about research, it is very important that we bring some kind of conclusion. That is the main goal of any research. So here, as in a very basic meaning of research says, a detailed and a careful study of something, basically to find more information about that topic. Some researcher defines it as a creation of new knowledge. This is a key word for understanding the meaning of research. And what we do is using of that existing knowledge in a new or a creative way to generate certain new concepts over a period of time. So according to Criswell, a person who has rightly defined research in a very simple manner, that it's a process of steps. Whenever it is a process, it becomes a scientific method, because something that is scientific will always have a process. Okay, so process is very systematic. So we need to understand that research is systematic, and it has a very proper process, step by step, as you have already seen that we will be discussing that, which is used to collect and analyze information to increase our understanding on a topic or a issue. Thus, we can say research is a process of inquiry and investigation that we do. It's systematic and methodological, and it increases knowledge. So the very important thing that it is a process of inquiry and investigation. This is again your keywords. Okay. Now, just to define research in a more simple manner, we have just elaborated its meaning, so that you find more keywords and it becomes easy for you to analyze the questions. So R is rational way of thinking. Again, rational here means scientific way of thinking. Okay, whenever I talk about research, research cannot be done by any random person. It requires a lot of expert and exhaustive treatment. It has certain procedures to be followed. Many a times we might conclude certain general phenomena, we might see certain general things, and we may say that this is a research, but we cannot, we might feel those things, but until unless we are an expert person to do that, we cannot say that this is a research. For that, you have to become an expert person for doing that. And the year S means that first thing we are searching something, and the work of the research is not just stop at searching something. Whenever we do a research, we need to provide a solution. If we fail to provide a solution, the research is always incomplete in that particular case. Then E stands for exactness. So whatever we are doing, we have to be 100% exact. But here we will have certain social science topics also, where very exact solution will not be possible, but most of them will have exact solution. Then analysis, a lot of analysis is been done when we do research. A lot of methods are being used while doing analysis, that is interview, surveys, and others. The next R is relationship of facts. So whenever I talk about research, it will be always comparing two phenomena. For example, a relation between a height of a person and the size of the shoes. So connecting any two phenomena, and there will be relation, and then only we will come to a conclusion. That is what research talks about. Then we have C, that is critical observation, careful planning, constructive attitude, and most important, that is condensed generalization. As I told you, research ends with bringing some solution, and most importantly, certain kind of generalization. And the last topic that we were discussing on day 3 that we will be seeing, that is research ethics. So H here stands for honesty and hard work. You cannot think that you will copy paste something and claim it as a research. You will have to be very, very honest. That is here what is they are talking about. So when we write research papers also, it has to be free from all kind of copy paste items that we call as plagiarism. Again, to give you a more detailed meaning of research, this is a small definition which will help you to understand it in a more better manner. So as you can see here, research is a systematic investigation into and study of materials and resources. So here we study materials also, which can be physical, intellectual, and resources, something that can be tangible or intangible. So sometimes when we study, when we do historical research, so we study certain oral resources. We follow certain folk stories that we have. So it can be tangible or intangible also. And when I talk about systematic investigation, the research is very, very scientific in that case. So we study of materials and resource in order to establish facts. So when I'm talking about establishing facts, it is basically generating principles or generalizing a knowledge and reach new conclusion, that is give certain outcome, that is certain evidence. Clear so far? You can take a screenshot of this. It has most of the keywords for you to understand the meaning of the research. Okay. Now, objectives of research. There are many objectives. You will refer to the books. You will find a lot of objectives. But for us, the main objectives are the SMART objectives. Okay. So whenever you do a research, when you will see the steps of research, they will again focusing on this same objectives. That my purpose of doing research should be very, very specific. Why I am doing a research? What will be the outcome of this research? Is this helping somebody, or just for the namesake, I just want to do a research and I'm doing, is it like that way, or what it is? So I should be very specific with what I am doing research. It should be very clearly defined in my hypothesis, in my research objectives and everything, that why I'm doing a certain research. Then my research should be measurable as far as possible. It should be in quantitative, or sometimes if it is a social science, it cannot be quantitative, but we use a mixed research. I will let you know in the upcoming types of research how it happens. Then my purpose or the objective of research is that it should be achievable. Okay, so whatever research I'm thinking, it should be realistic, which can be accomplished. I can reach that goal. It should not be as such that I have thought about a research but I'm not able to achieve it. So such kind of research will ultimately fail. So I will fail as a researcher to give my commitment to that research. Fourth is relevant. So whatever topic I'm doing research, it should be relevant. For example, today if I do a research on climate change and urban development, the city development and everything, it is very much relevant in today's time, like in a city like Mumbai or Delhi, because we are urban cities and we are also talking about the climate change, because that is one of the future. So it should be relevant. But if I talk about a research on a topic, let's say origin of television, it is not going to give me any kind of relevance because television has already evolved a lot. So that is not relevant for me as of now. And very important, a research has to be time bound within a definite frame. Even UGC gives a norm that you need to complete your research within a stipulated time of 3 to 5, 7 years. You cannot take a research and go for years and years. There are certain research which are, for example, when we study longitudinal research, it goes for 20, 25 years. But again, it has a timeline because it studies the overall from the development and growth and everything. That is why that studies takes time. But again, they have a certain time, 20 years, 25 years, but it cannot be very long, okay, without a time bound. Then these are certain characteristics. Most of the questions are been asked from this characteristics topic. Again, when you see the book, you will find ample of characteristics. But these are something which are most important characteristics, and these are universal characteristics. This you will find in each and every book as far as possible. So first is research is very much systematic in approach. Okay, as I've told you, it follows a process, a step. Okay, so first you will do a literature review. Up just on the topic that you're going to do a research, you will find certain previous knowledge on that research. Has anybody conducted that research? Then you will find what are the sources to do. So it follows a proper system. So that is why the research is very, very systematic. Second is, as we discussed in our previous slide, that research has to have certain objective. Now, this objective that I'm talking here in characteristics of research is little bit different. Objective means here the researcher, whatever researcher XYZ person is doing a research, he has to be very much objective in his conclusion. Okay, he or she should not be subjective. That means he should not put his personal biasness in that research. Objective, that means whatever the data is talking, I'm giving answer based on those research or those data. Okay, so it should be free from the biasness of a researcher. Okay, so observation karenge, test karenge, there are so many tests that we will be following, and the main purpose or a characteristics of a research is it should be free from any research biasness. Okay, this is very, very important because questions come on this topic, either objective or subjective. Then use logical reasoning, that is deductive or inductive. This I have covered in my next slide, so I will be explaining you what is inductive and deductive reasoning. Okay, so in short, basically I will say whatever research we are doing, it should be logical, it should follow a certain pattern, and either it should go from particular to general and give some conclusion, or from general to particular. And the next characteristics that we have for research is very important, that is generalized outcome. Whatever research I'm doing, it should give the same result whenever I'm applying the same research, okay, to the entire population. So for example, during the time of COVID, the corona vaccine was being developed. So a vaccine that was working on Indians was working on Africans, also was working on people of Malaysia, also Indonesia, also, and then finally it was been called as that this vaccine is giving similar outcome to everyone in every situation. So this vaccine can be used. So that is how a generalized outcome has been come. For example, paracetamol is a basic medicine when you have a fever or cold or something. So any person who is having minor fever or cold, if given paracetamol, they can be treated well and they can start working and they will feel normal. So in any situation who has a minor cold and fever, they can use paracetamol. So there is a generalized outcome. You go in any country, that paracetamol will work in the same manner. Then reliability, that is, it refers to the extent in which an investigation proceeds consistent result. So that means when I talk about reliability, my research should be reliable in any situation that has been tested. It should give same result again and again. And the next thing is cyclic. Many of the researchers, one type of those research is action research that we'll be studying, is cyclic in nature. It's a process. Once you start, you follow certain steps and then you finish. And once that has been done, again you start that process and again you have the same steps and then you finish. So it is a circular phenomena, and you will have to go in the same phenomena, same pattern again and again. Whenever you are doing a research, first you will do literature review, then you will do certain forming of hypothesis and writing thesis, and then everything. And the last characteristics that we have is replicable, that is meaning the other researchers should be able to conduct a similar study and obtain a similar result when following the same methods, as I've likely told you, having a generalized outcomes, or when it is the same research has been again copied in certain circumstances, certain scenario, it should give the same result again. So it should not give a different result. For example, the vaccine that we have tested of corona, if we test that vaccine, okay, and if that vaccine gives a different result in a different country, that means it is not a proper research in that case. Now, on based on this, there is one question that I want to give you. Just give me a minute. I just will hide the answer. Okay. This is a PYQ question. Okay. So the question is, a scientific research is what? Data driven, replicable, verifiable, or subjective? And the options are: first is ABC, second is BCD, third is BD, or the fourth is ABCD. Uh, Almost every one of you have given the correct answer. The correct answer is first, that is ABC. That is any research, as I just now told you, that we talk with data in research. So any research that we are talking is data driven. If you have to be scientific, it must have data. And just now we did the objectives and the characteristics of the research that talks that it is replicable and it is verifiable also, because if the research is verifiable, then only we are able to come with a generalized outcome, we are able to replicate it in certain situation. In any case, it is not subjective. If it is subjective, it will have biasness and that research is not considered valid. Research, instead of subjective, it should be objective. Okay, if it is objective, it becomes the correct type of research. It should never be subjective. Subjective is a basically a wrong component. So research is never ever subjective. So your correct answer is ABC. The next question that we have here is, when knowledge becomes replicable and verifiable, it is called as. Yes. Everyone has given the perfect answer that it is called as scientific, as we have just now discussed. So it cannot be humanistic. Again, it will become subjective and will have biasness. Neither the impressionistic or subjective. Perfect. Now going to the another one more question. These two questions were very simple. Now this question is little in detail. I will just read out for you guys. What is not a research? Or we should always pay to this question, attention to this question when they are talking not a research. We miss this word not most of the times and we mark a wrong answer. So this is of June 2025. Research is a careful and exhaustive investigation of a phenomena with an objective of advancing knowledge. Second, it is a systematic and an objective attempt to study a problem for the purpose of deriving general principle. Third, research is based on a common sense knowledge based on an accumulated experience and beliefs of the people. And the fourth is, it's a systematic investigation to find a solution. Yes, most of you have given the correct answer that research, what is not a research, that is, it's not based on common sense knowledge or experience. As I told you, we can have common sense and experience and knowledge, but we need expertise to prove it, and then only it can become a research. Without that expertise or without that thing, this common sense or knowledge cannot be called as research. Fine. Moving ahead. One more question based on the meaning and characteristics. Scientific observations are based on verifiable evidence or systematic body of proof, accumulated experience, prejudice, or the beliefs of the people. Again, this is June 2025 question. Yes, the answer is correct. That is the first one. Okay. That is verifiable. Okay. It is never accumulated experience, prejudice, or beliefs. So, these two questions are from 2025 itself, but from two different shifts. Okay. So, see, in one, the same question in the same year, they can ask in different patterns how that can be asked. Now, the next topic today that we have is positivism and post-positivism approach to the research. Now, this when I talk about positivism and post-positivism, it also has two more topics into it. That is hypo-inductive and empirical. Okay, hypo-deductive, sorry, and empirical inductive research, which is part and parcel of this positivism and post-positivism. I would like that if you take a screenshot will be more better because it is very basic, but it will be required in your next lectures. Okay. So as you can see, the first topic for right now, don't pay attention on hypothetical deductive or empirical inductive. Right now, just pay attention to positivism and post-positivism. Just remember this, that positivism type of research is called as HD, that is hypo theoretic deductive, and post-positivism is called as EI, that is empirical inductive. Now, what is positivism? Positivism, whenever the positivists talk about it, they say all this research, whatever we can see, all those reality that we can see in this world, all those tangible things. Okay, so they are talking about reality that we see in this world, but to be precise, it will be only tangible things. They argue all of them can be discovered and verified. Everything that is there in this world can be discovered and verified. They argue for true and objective reality, and they say all of this can be discovered, verified through direct observations and measurements of phenomena. And everything is measurable. This is the belief of positivism. And they say that it can be studied by natural science and scientific inquiry. So anything that is there in this world can be studied through scientific methods and inquiry methods. It is very a practical way of studying. Okay. But at the same time, you can say the drawbacks or the criticism of positivism resulted into post-positivism. That is, post-positivism is our contemporary situation that we are having. Many researchers argued that everything cannot be discussed in the form of positivism. You cannot discuss somebody's emotion, somebody's pleasure, somebody's pain in the form of a scientific or a calculative study. So if any one of you have studied political science and the theory of utilitarian theory, you'll understand Jeremy Bentham and J.S. Mill also had argument on the same thing. We cannot count or calculate somebody's happiness, pains, or emotion. Okay. So they say the post-positivism believe that the reality can never be fully known, and it is beyond a human capacity, their sensory and intellectual capacity to study all these things. So the data gets converted into quality. Okay. And quality things can be measured, but you cannot give them certain numbers or ratios, though we have psychological tests also, but it's a parameter. We cannot anyways calculate all of them in a number. Okay. So then taking this forward, comes your hypodeductive and inductive research, empirico-inductive research. Now, hypodeductive is part of positivism itself. Okay, they are also talking about the procedure and the construction of a scientific theory that will account for result obtained through direct observation and experimentation. The research, this is a research of hypotheoretic deductive research, where hypothesis has been made because they make hypothesis and they want to prove. It's a scientific way of doing that. Okay. So they prove through deductive method. Okay, they deductive method is basically going from general principles to particular. So let's say there are certain general principles that you have accumulated, and then you will form a particular principle in your life. For example, if in a class, okay, deductive basically means if in a class I say every student knows to play guitar. So if there is a class of 30 students, I say all of them knows to play guitar. So I'm this is a general thing, and I'm going to particular, and I'm saying that if everyone knows to play the guitar in this class, so Ram, who is a student in this class, also knows to play a guitar. That is deductive way of interpreting something. Okay, so hypodeductive is a very much quantitative data which can be count and measured. And then inductive research, that is empirico-inductive research, they check, for example, it goes from particular to general. Okay, so there are many particular instances, for example, and they then form a generalization. So what happens in this thing is, for example, there is uh, a teacher uses PPT in a class. Okay, in uh, every class teacher uses a PPT. So now students are aware that teacher is using a PPT. So in a seventh or eighth class, the students have already set up all the resources that are required to start a PPT, the smart board and everything, because from their particular experience, they have came to know that this teacher, whenever she comes, she requires a PPT. So that is going from particular experience and then forming a generalization is called as inductive. The best way to remember inductive and deductive is also this way. I tell my students to remember in front of D, you can write GP, that is DGP, as a post of an officer. So you can write DGP, that is deductive going from general to particular, and then inductive is vice versa, that is from particular to general, that is P to G. Okay. So what happens in empirico-inductive research is researcher collects data empirical from specific case to generalize, basically make it inductive. Okay, it may include survey experiments, observations, and everything. It is more of quality, and they ask how, what, when, etc. certain behaviors. uh, just for a major classification between both of them, hypodeductive is quantitative, empirico-inductive is quality. Hypodeductive comes under positivism, and empirico-inductive comes under post-positivism. Hypoinductive, like positivism, focus on single reality, whereas empirico-inductive focus on participants' perspective and other things that science cannot calculate. Okay, in hypodeductive there is a control settings, everything is done in a lab because it's very scientific, but in empirical inductive it is very natural doing in an actual setting. Okay, where we allow variables to move in a pattern that they want, and the outcome, hypodeductive is always focused on outcome, whereas empirical inductive, when they are talking about case to case, okay, they focus on the process. And it is from empirical inductive is something that generates theory to observation. So for example, there is a phone. Okay, so for example, a company launches a phone and says that the battery there, it has a battery backup of 2 days. Okay, that is something that the company has told, but from every individual to individual, every individual who uses it, that phone, uh, has a different way of using, and there are so many factors that are affecting. So from case to case, everybody will use that in a different manner, and somebody's battery might sustain for 2 days, for someone it will be 1 day, for someone it will be 1.5 day. So that is empirical inductive, which differs from case to case. Okay, this I have actually most of the time they ask you positivism and post positivism, but in couple of papers we have seen that they have also asked hypodeductive and empirical inductive. So this much is more than enough for us to understand from our exam perspective. Now certain questions based on the same. This is a 2023 question, which talks as an epistemological position that advocates the application of methods of natural science to the study of social reality and beyond refers to what? See, you need to focus on the keywords like natural science. You'll get the answer. Perfect. So it is positivism. Correct. So because we are talking about natural science and anything that is natural and scientific, it will be positivism, and something that is with regards to social science, that will be post positivism. So the correct answer is first one. One more question. There are two statements given here. First is the process of deduction involves generalizable inference out of observation. And statement two says positivism advocates the application of the methods of the natural science to the study of social reality. Again, this is a question from 2023 itself. Namita, you are asking for the previous question why the second one was not an option. Okay. Uh, because we have not here it is talking about natural science, and when I talk about natural science, it is positivism. Right now, we have studied just positivism and post positivism. Interpretivism is not a part, the greater part of our research. Okay, so as you can see here, so when I talk about natural science, okay, so here I am talking about positivism, anything that is natural science and scientific inquiry, if you can see the second last point here. And whenever I'm talking about social science, okay, something that cannot be calculated, it will be post positivism. So the option that was available here was positivism, so that was the correct answer. Yes, most of you have given the correct answer. Okay, the correct answer is 4 in this case. That statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. Now, moving forward, that is with the methods of research. We have many methods of research. To let you know, these are certain methods and types of research are sometimes overlapping. Basically, types of research are this research that you see. Methods will be your interviews, surveys, case studies. These become methods. And the thing that you can see here is qualitative, quantitative, basic research, applied action research, or correlational, longitudinal, qualitative, quantitative mix. These are the types of research. Types यानी वो category होती है. And when I talk about methods, method is how do we conduct these types of research. That is called as the methods of research. To name a few, this is in detail the different types of research that we have in exam. Just hold on. And in your examination, a lot of questions are been asked from the types of research. Now, these types of research are been divided on the basis of classification in certain categories. We will just look it from an overview, and then we will go in detail with regards to the types of research. So when I talk about on the basis of objectives, what objectives I have to achieve, on basis of that, it is descriptive, correlational, exploratory research, and experimental, because they have certain objectives. And when I talk about outcome, if I want a certain outcome in my research, on its basis, we have fundamental and applied research. On the basis of logic, as I've told you, we have deductive and inductive. As I've told you, that deductive is general to particular and inductive is particular to general. So you can note this down. It's DGP and IGP. Then on the process, the basis of process, it is quantitative and qualitative. Inquiry mode, it is structured or unstructured. Or on the basis of idea, it is conceptual or empirical. Now, okay, no, this question not right now. First, we will start with the types of research. The first one is the basic research. Basic research is very, very basic in nature. This research, very important that we need to know and understand is the alternative name of this research. Many a times question paper or the examiner might ask you the alternate name, and we should be aware of it. So basic research is also called as pure research or fundamental research. Okay, so that means it is very pure in nature. It is just doing the basic thing, forming the research. It has nothing to do with application. Very important. There are three research back to back which will be overlapping. So all these highlighted parts, please pay attention. So it is very much pure and it is fundamental. Its primary focus is just okay. So the very primary purpose of this research is the advancement of the knowledge rather than solving a problem. So this research focus is to create a theory rather than to focus on solving any particular problem. So the research attempts to broaden your understanding and expand the scientific theories and whatever explanation is there. Very important. There is no practical application of this research. Okay, it is just concerned with making a theory, but they have no practical application. It creates new ideas, principles, and it is not applied in real or practical life. It is just creating a theory. Generalization is always there in this research, and it is universal. The purpose of this research is to know how, when, and what, and basically to advance any theory that is already existing. Certain example to explain you what is basic research is a study of how stress affects the labor productivity. So it is a studying how stress is affecting a labor productivity. So for example, if a worker is very much stressed, so the productive ratio reduced by 10%, 20%, or whatever it is. But then it will not do something practical solution to it. It will just find out कि stress has a relation on a person's productivity, but it then uske aage kya, what after that, what's next, providing a solution or doing something, it has to nothing to do with it. It will just say that if a person is stressed, it will reduce its productivity. Another example that we can give you is how teaching methods affect students' concentration in a class. So, for example, a teacher uses a very strict method of teaching or not uses examples. So, it has a very, the concentration of the students in that class is very dull. They are not paying attention. This is a basic research. But what to do after that is not mentioned here. That will be mentioned in action research. Okay? This theory is creating this research is creating a theory, but what action will be taken, that will be done in the action research. So next is, to what extent does caffeine consumption affect the classroom concentration? So if students have consumed tea or coffee, and how does it impact their classroom concentration, that will be discussed in basic research, but they will not go and actually work on ground to provide certain solution. Now, this is a question from June 2025 asking what is a research. So, is it concerned with the search for ways of using scientific knowledge to solve practical problems? It does not develop and test hypotheses and theories. The research is not used to reject or support the existing theories about social phenomena. Or it is also called as basic research, and it is concerned with the quest of knowledge, knowing more about the phenomena without concern for its practical use. Yes, others also please reply, because if you are not able to understand this first type of research, then next research will again go very difficult for you guys. Correct, Arpita, Namita? Yes. It is also called as basic research, and it is for the quest of knowledge. Okay. So that is called as pure research. Moving forward, then we have applied research. Now, basic research has to deal with only creating of the theory. Applied research is something जो theory which that we have made in our basic research, we will be applying those theories in this applied research. So that is why this research is also called as decisional research, or it aims to solve a problem and also finding a solution to an existing problem, whatever it is there, because now we are applying it. Okay, so now when we are applying, obviously after application we will find out certain solutions to the problem. We will address any specific problem on whatever we want to looking for, okay, on that research. Practical application of existing theory that was there in the basic research. Generalization is always there in this. Applied research has generalization. Now applied will also have a category that will not have a generalization. That is why I'm telling you to pay attention that applied research has generalization, but it has a category which will not have generalization. For example, ragging is a universal problem in every college all over India. Ragging is a universal problem in USA, in UK, or any country that you go. So we will find out a solution, a protocol or something. And when we find out a protocol or some solution, that solution will be applicable to everywhere. Okay, that is we call as applied research. Certain examples will include how to reduce global warming. So for example, if we are able to find out certain solution, how to reduce global warming. So that solution is, let's say, planting more trees. So that is generalized and that can be used all over the world to reduce global warming. And next, another example is COVID vaccine. Now, action research, another type of an action research, applied research, another type is called as action research. I believe this is one of the favorite research question, a type of a research question that the examiner asks at least in one of the shifts most of the time. Because this is a type of a research, because we all belong from education industry. This research is mostly used by educators. The another name or the another way to identify action research is basically an educator using a research is always an action research. So it's a part of a applied research, okay? Because again, apply either bhi karte hain hum, but here we are more very specific with regards to our action. Here the solution are found for local problem. As I told you in the previous research, that here generalization is possible, but isi ka type hai, the another type of applied research is action research, and the solution is for a local problem, not for a generalization. I will tell you in the upcoming points how it is for local problem. Sometimes they have asked you this question, who has developed this type of research? That is MIT professor Kurt Lewin in 1944 has developed this type of research. Basically, this type of research is solving or giving immediate problem. Most of the time, your research has been used by school teachers or college professors to find solutions. Let's say something has gone wrong in my class, my students are not paying attention. Now I want to look what is the reason my students are not paying attention, or what is the reason the retention or the attendance ratio is very less. So I will plan certain thing. I will find out the why these things are going, then I will plan a solution. I will act on those solution, then I will observe what is happening on whatever solution that I've planned. If it is doing good, then I will proceed and my cycle comes to an end. But if that cycle is not coming to an attendance is still low, then I will plan something else, some other substitute to increase the attendance ratio. I think this is one of the basic problem which almost every college faces. Okay, so this was developed by MIT professor and it is providing immediate solution and mostly used by universities or class teachers or school teachers or the principals. Generalization is not possible because ragging is a universal problem. In for example, in a second year LLB class, law student class, why retention is not possible? There can be many reasons. For example, in Mumbai, reasons might be different. In Delhi, reasons might be different. In Mumbai, only there are 10 colleges. All 10 colleges might have different reasons. So I cannot apply this generalization to any other college or any other situation to any, nobody can copy my this thing, because it differs from person to person and problem to problem. It focuses on improvement. Basically, we do action research so that whatever problem it is there, it can be improved, a solution can be provided. I have written another alternative word for this, that is ameliorate. This is an another word for improvement. And trust me, UGC loves asking higher level English, using higher level English words. They will ask, for example, uh, um, this research focus on enumerating and providing a solution. So what it is? So it is action research. So they just use certain higher level words which you should be aware. It is from one of the PYQs. So this is mostly done by practitioner. And whenever they talk about practitioner, it is always the teachers, the principals, and the affected person who will be doing it. Okay. It has a cycle that we call as POAR, that is plan, act, observe, and reflect. That is why, when, if you remember, in the characteristics of research, we studied that it is cyclic in nature. Because this is a cycle that has been followed. Now, please remember that action research concept was being uh, coined by Kurt Lewin in 1944. Again, I'm telling you, action research concept was coined by Kurt Lewin in 1944. But this cycle, that is plan, act, observe, and reflect, this cycle was developed by Stephen Keams. Okay, so this cycle, you should always remember, is been developed by Stephen Keams. Questions, there are many questions that are been asked from this particular topic. He developed a simple model of cyclic nature of typical action research, which includes your four step, that is planning, acting, observing, and reflecting. As I told you, if attendance is low, I will plan a solution. Let's say I will give extra marks to students who attend lectures. Okay. So I have attached the concept of marks to attendance. So I have planned. Now I am acting. I have planned. I have announced this in my class. I observe. Attendance has increased in my class. I reflect, it has given me good solution, I carry on with it. Let's say even after associating marks with attendance, students are not coming, I reflect and find out it is not giving any improvement. I will revise my plan and I will say those who come to the class, they will get additional marks rather than the basic marks. They will have certain additional marks, even in their external 5 marks grace will be given if they attended. So apart from internal, I'm telling you, in external also I will give you 5 or 10 marks grace if your attendance is good. So I then act on it, I observe, okay, and I see, okay, it is giving me good solution, so I will stop. If it is not providing me good solution, I will still go again to the next cycle. So it is continuously going in a cycle. So action research idea was developed by Kurt Lewin in 1944, but this cycle of plan, act, observe was been developed by Stephen Keams. Clear so far? Now, yeah, this is the next question. I want you to reply on it. It's of 2018. Yes. Okay, so this is a very simple question, and because we are discussing and immediately having questions, it is becoming easy. Yes, all of you have given the correct answer. Perfect. Yeah, the answer is very easy. That is plan, act, observe, and reflect. See, such a simple question can also come and it can fetch you marks. Okay, so yes, the answer is D. Now, a little higher level of question. Okay, I believe this is of 2020. A college teacher plans a research program in which she intends to improve the social emotional aspect of his or her classroom climate during teaching. Which of the following methods will be considered appropriate? Yeah. So see, the simple thing is, a college teacher, a university, a class directly gives you an answer of action research. Perfect. Now little going to one more level higher. Another question. So in the previous question, they asked you about a college teacher. Now they are telling you a university teacher. Again, similar type of question, but they have make sure to confuse you here with two types of options that is available. So in this question, a university teacher plans to improve study habits of students in his or her classroom. Which type of research paradigm will be useful in this regard? Evaluative, fundamental, applied, or action? See, any question that you will ever have in UGC, two answers will be straight away wrong. Two will be very much closely connected, and you will have to find your answers out of those two. So purposely they have given applied research to you to confuse you, because you know solution has been provided in applied. But as I told you, the simplest way to find the answer is action research. If it is college, university, it is very sure that we are having the answer is action research. Now, this is a basic bifurcation between the applied research and the action research. So applied research is for general problem. Action research is a part of applied, but it is for local problem. Applied will have a generalized application. Action research will have local. Applied research is done by experts and action research is done by practitioners. Applied research is aiming solving life problems, and action research, as I told you, the focus is improvement. Again, this is a keyword for you. And they give you a lot big questions. Now they have started framing paragraph wise questions. Okay, giving a whole situation. Just focus on keywords. Now, this was a classification within applied research itself, because action research is a type of applied research. Now, we will see a classification between basic research and applied research. Okay, so basic research, as we discussed just now, it aims to create a theory. Applied research aims to give problems and find solution. Basic research is theoretical, applied is practical. Basic is universal, applied is limited because it has action research. Otherwise it will have also been universal. Examples of basic research is to study human behavior and make certain generalization. But examples of applied research is market research, doing evaluation research, or market research. I can also say census and all those things are also part of applied research. Okay, socio-political trends and everything comes under it. This is also talking a difference between applied and basic. You can take a screenshot. It is more or less the same. So sorry. So I will just want you to take a screenshot. If you have any doubt, just observe it for a minute and ask me a question. And if you don't have any doubt, just give me a thumbs up. We will move to the next part. Okay. Fine. So the most important difference between basic and applied lies in their objectives. So the basic is to expand information, while the applied is to solve a problem. Now, okay. Another research that we have is historical research. Now, this research will be always secondary, because we cannot go in history and understand things or whatever it was there in past. So it will be always studying on secondary resources, and it is most of the time we might have primary, but most of the time secondary resources. It is undertaken to answer the question concerning cause, facts, or trends relating to the past events that may shed light present practice or behavior. It involves a certain systematic collection and a critical evaluation of data relating to the past occurrence of a particular phenomena. The basic motto of a historical research is to know why. Now, a major thing with regards to historical research is it is always conducted once the thing is once any activity that has been done. So we can just study the effects of it. We cannot ever study the cause. So whenever we study research, there are two things into a research, that is cause and effect. So in historical research, we always study the effects. We can never know the causes because it is already done. We cannot go and change those causes. So now what we can do is just to know why did it happen. We can just try to figure out those causes why, but we might never find a complete answer to it. So interpretations are mainly done from documents, chronicles, journals, diaries. Primary resources, though preferred by historical research for being more accurate, are very scarce and limited. So much of the historical research bears the shortcoming of excessive reliance on secondary resources, that is diaries, memos, posts, testimonies, often carry, which always have biasness. So that is why historical research are not considered to be very I will say pure or correct, and they don't ask you much question from historical research, but certain basic things that we need to know. For example, why an organization has reached to a level of at whatever it is. For example, if today I want to study about Tata, Ambani's, or Birlas, I can just go back and have some data and just do a research ki how Tata has become this or how Ambani has become this. But I cannot go in the past and change those things. Okay. Or why a civilization was successful. Let's talk about Indus Valley civilization. So I can just study the effects of it. I cannot go and study the cause. I can just go and study why it was there or how it was there. It has yes, ma'am. Just after completing this, I will give break for 5 minutes. So it has steps that is define the problem, then data collection that will be secondary. Then we have criticism of data that is internal and external. So because it is historic, we will have criticism because it has biasness. Okay, a lot of biasness it carries. And then presentation of the fact. This was another type, the fourth type of research, that is historical research. Please take a break for 5 minutes. It is 7:03 now. 7:08 we will be right back and we will start the other half of the topic. Okay. Um, Now, the another type of research that we have is ex post facto research. Now, this research is mostly used in social science and businesses, and it has no control over variables. Yeah, I will be explaining you what is variable in experimental research, but in short, variables are the factors, okay, because of which your research might get changed. Okay, so there are so many factors in a research. So, this ex post facto is more like historical research because something has already happened and now you are conducting a research. The basic difference, I will say, between an historical research and an ex post facto research is historical research is done something that is, let's say, 2000 hundreds or how many years back it might have happened. But ex post facto is something when certain event has just now completed and we are doing a research on it. So it is done on a very recent event. Okay, it is also done after it has become a history, but this history is a recent history. Okay, so it has, that is why it has no control over the variables, and it is carried out after the incident has been done. So this kind of research is based on scientific and analytical examination of dependent and independent variables. So independent variable or are those variables that we call as are the factors uh, which affects the other variable. Okay, and dependent variables are those variables which get affected because of independent variable. In a very simple uh, language, if I want to give you an example, let's say tea or coffee is an independent variable and which affects your sleep cycle because tea and coffee has caffeine, so it's an independent variable and it affects the variable. Dependent variable is your sleep is dependent upon the number of cups of tea and coffee that you have. Okay, so independent variable will affect the dependent variable. So this kind of research is based on scientific and analytical examination of all such kind of dependent and independent variables. The main purpose is to check what is the effect. Now the whatever thing has been there, incident has been there, that has been done. Now what effect it is having, we will be observing that effect. So it is on a recent past or it is happening, and then by then we will study it. The event should happen or taken very naturally. This is a very important clause of ex post facto of research. For example, why a certain XYZ person becomes a criminal or a drug addict. So the research has been carried on. Now the person has already done the damage. They have already become a criminal or a drug addict. Now the research has been considered what were the factors that led a person to become a criminal or a drug addict. That is what ex post facto research does. Okay, they find out possibilities or reasons that are available. That is the major difference between historical, because it finds out the reason why it was there and tries to give a solution. Maybe not in that case, but certain other signs that we'll be studying or certain other people who will be studying will know that they should not do because these were the reasons that XYZ incident took place. Okay, so historical research studies past events using available evidence to describe what happened, while ex post facto research investigates the cause and effect relationship both. As I told you in historical, we cannot go and study the cause because it's years it has been done. But ex post facto, recently the event was been done. For example, a person becoming a criminal or a drug addict. So we understand its cause also, and after doing that activity, what is the effect on that particular person? Okay, and in both of them without manipulating the variables to understand why it was happened. Uh, the key difference lies in their focus. Historical focus on describing the past using primary secondary reasons, whereas ex post facto research focus on discovering the causes of the past events and looking for a relationship between anything that has happened, any event or incident that has happened. Now, uh, one of the major topic, you will have most of the questions from quantitative and qualitative type of research. Very, very, very important topic. It's altogether a different topic, but I've considered in types of research itself because it is overlapping. Please pay attention. It's very simple. Many a times, also in examination, we forget to pay attention on the words and we commit a mistake. So whenever I'm talking about quantitative, it is unlocking the power of numbers. It is about statistics and measurement. It's all about number. The results will have tables, graphs, and other thing. It will also have a linear or structured research. Okay, very much. When I talk about quantitative research, when it has numbers, everything has been defined, steps, procedures, everything. This quantitative research, you can say positivism is part of it. Okay, it's an inquiry into an identified problem, testing a theory. Even in positivism, we test a theory. Quantitative research is data oriented. Data is the, I will say, the god in this research. Okay, it uses deductive approach. Now tell me, what is deductive approach? Particular to general or general to particular?
General to particular.
Very good, perfect. So it goes from general to particular conclusion. It's a structured data testing of hypothesis. Review of literature is done because in such when I do a research on quantitative, there is already some research that might have taken place. The focus is proving the theory. It is proving the hypothesis that we have. It is very much objective in nature. That means it will not have any kind of biasness because it is talking in the terms of data, numbers. It can be measured. So subjectivity is not possible in this kind of data. This data has close-ended questions, okay, fixed response. For example, when you fill a Google form, okay, so there are options. Rate your experience on 1 to 5, scale of 1 to 5, or if you strongly agree, disagree, neutral, or whatever it is, strongly disagree, agree. So it's a close-ended questions. You cannot give your personal opinion, okay. So there is a range which has been given to you, and you will have to answer in those. Quantitative data has a positive point that it can be done on a large sample size, okay, because it is number we can calculate. We have tools for calculating all those things. Tools also will be seeing in our next classes, so it can be calculated. And as I told you, deductive in approach, that is going from general to particular or specific. Now this there is one question, I want you to answer this question. I think the answer was already visible, but still give a try. Okay, so in quantitative research, providing a base for more precise estimation of the degree of relationship among us between concept is the function of what? Surveying, reviewing, measurement, or sampling. Perfect, it is measurement. Okay, so quantitative research talks about quantity, quantity, numbers, data, and measurement of all those things. Perfect. Now there is another type of research that we have is qualitative research. Now, qualitative research is talking about the power of human behavior, the experience exploring the human behavior. It's all about quality. Okay, it's non-numerical. It's not talking about any numbers, and it is unquantifiable. It's post-positivism. It talks about pleasure, pain, emotions, experience. It is not. It cannot be told in numbers. It is done for the discovery, and it goes in-depth study of a situation. Like even the example that we took recently about criminals or drug addicts. So why they became or why they got into such situation is qualitative research. Okay, how things has happened in that way. It is unstructured. In a qualitative research, we go with the flow. To be very simple, we go with the flow. We see why things has happened, and whatever information we get, we collect it, and then we combine and come to a conclusion. It uses inductive approach, that is going from particular to general, and it focus on. So one more thing, the review of literature is very minor because you might not have similar kind of things because it's not data, the similar kind of cases, many cases available, and even if there are cases, it might differ from a certain uh, With certain minute changes, it might differ. So that is why we do not have much literature review. It uses the process of inquiry and has a goal of understanding social human problem from multiple perspective. It gives you the why question. It uses non-probability sampling. Uh, Probability sampling, in short, I'm telling you, sampling we'll be doing in tomorrow's class. Probability sampling is something where I make a probable answer key. This will be my, for example, the person who participant in my research. In known probability, we do not have any fixed thing. For example, in quantitative, I say that every 10th person in this list will be my sample. In non probability, I randomly select anybody. For example, I have a list of 1 to 100. I select from 1 to 10, I select 2, 3, 5, 7. From 11 to 20, I select only 12. Then 13 to 50, sorry, 21 to 30, I select 3 4 numbers. Anyways, so that is non-probability sampling. It has certain types also. The sample size will be very, very small. It will be subjective because we are dealing with human emotions, behaviors, pleasure, happiness, pain. So subjectiveness will come because when we are going from person to person and we understand things in detail, we also know that if XYZ person has committed a crime, it might have certain reasons to it. So it is very subjective, and it develops context bond generalization. So whatever generalization is coming is situational. That generalization is not universal. It cannot be applied everywhere. So in certain situation, if it is repeated, it might give you the same result, but not necessary in all situations. Now, when we have taken an example of a person becoming a criminal or a drug addict, so I told you we do a qualitative research, but then it can be done in a mixed format also. That there is a pattern that if XYZ things, these are the 4 5 things. If this pattern has been followed, the person becomes a criminal. So when I include certain patterns and then I bring, for example, let's say 40 50 60 case studies, and all of them has same pattern. It's qualitative, but it has a pattern, and every all those 60 70 case studies have, let's say, at least 4 to 5 pattern that is common. So now I have quality also, and I have number data also, and this kind of research is called as mixed research. Okay, so when quantitative and qualitative, both of them are integrated together, is called as qualitative research. Okay, the last point. Okay, this one develops context bound generalization, situational. When I talk about qualitative research, when they will give a generalization, it will be applicable only in that situation. Let's say in a qualitative research, I'm talking about a person, why a person is not able to open up or to speak in front of people, or why he or she is an introvert, certain qualitative things. So I study that thing. In that case, I've seen that the person was an extrovert person, but because of certain life phenomena, he or she has turned into an introvert person. Now, this is situational to that person. When I study another case that is there, again of an introvert, for that person, the situation might be different. That person might be right from the beginning of the childhood, always introvert, or she might have a bad childhood trauma, parent separation, or all those things. So the child is introvert in that case. So what it is happening is, uh, two cases I'm discussing, qualitative. Both are introvert, but the reasons, their generalization, and what will be the outcome, and what techniques might help them to grow differs. So that is, it develops generalization, but it will be situationally. So if certain people who were extrovert and then they convert to introvert, so in that cases my research will be helpful. But somebody who is born introvert, in that cases my qualitative research of on introvert will not help to those people. Okay, and as I told you, when I mix both of them, okay, my qualitative and quantitative, I'm having a pattern of all those criminal people, okay, activities, but I see a pattern in all those 60 70 cases. I'm mixing, sorry, quantitative and qualitative. It is called as a mixed research. Qualitative is mostly used in social science, and because research objectives and characteristics is, it should be quantifiable and measurable. So when in social science we use qualitative, we also add quantitative, okay, quant into it numbers, and we make it as a mixed research. Clear so far? Now, this is a difference between quantitative and qualitative research. Okay. Uh, I will just read the keywords for you guys over here. In quantitative research, researcher is quant is number is very clear what to do and what not to do. Those things. Qualitative is to understand human being social science. Quantitative is objective. Qualitative is subjective. In quantitative, the approach is from top to bottom. The objective is to confirm what and when. In qualitative, the approach is bottom up. It explores to know how and when. In quantitative, it follows general to specific approach that we have already done. And in qualitative, it does from specific to general, that is particular to general. Okay. The data collected mainly includes experiment in quantitative number, statistics, polls, controlled observation. In qualitative, the data is mainly verbal, such as word, images, in-depth interviews, focus discussion group, observation, documents, review, and other thing to collect sample. In quantitative, random sampling is a type of probability sampling that we do. And in qualitative, we do non-random sampling. We select anybody uh, from the list that is available. We do not follow a fixed pattern. And in when we will study sampling tomorrow, you'll understand it in more better way. How does that random sampling happens also? That it is from case to case. Sometimes we just get sample size following certain leads. So we are not having control in taking certain samples. It goes from connection to connection. So that is how it works. Quantitative is always result oriented and qualitative is process oriented. Okay, qualitative focus why it happened, the whole of the process is very important for them. Quantitative is specific finding generalizable. Qualitative is vice versa. It can be generalized, but not to the very large quantity. Again, this is another table, more or less talks the same thing, but in a more precise manner. Take a screenshot, read it for a minute, and then we will go to the next topic. Yes, because we are taking customer preferences and everything. Yeah, and then we will find, and then we'll do a lot of trend. We will see how it works. It will improve qualitative and quantitative both. Because we are taking their preferences. If we would have not taken their preferences and income level, then it would have been just quantitative. But since we are taking their opinion, we are going to human aspect. It will be mixed research. Okay. Now, certain questions on the same topic. This is from December 2023. First, a statement talks that qualitative research lays emphasis on contextual understanding. Second statement says quantitative research is typically highly unstructured. Perfect. Perfect, everyone. Statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is not correct because both the statements are talking about quantitative. Okay. The second statement is talking about quantitative research being highly unstructured, which is opposite. Quantitative is structured and qualitative is not structured. Another question. Okay, this is from 2018. Most of them we have done out of it. Okay, so there are two sets given. A set 1 is ABCD, set 2 is 1, 2, 3, 4. You will have to match the research and the characteristics of that particular research. For solving such kind of question, we also use the method of elimination. Now we have set 1, 4 and set 2, 5 characteristics. First, use the option of elimination. In set 2, at least we know that technological resource is not part of any type of research. So far, we have not talked about technology. So any code that is having option 5 as an option is automatically not your answer. So in that case, B and D is definitely not your answers because it has option 5 from set 2. So you will have to find your answer in option A or option C. Perfect. Option A is the correct answer. So let us just match and see. First is research, set A, and that is connected with option 2, that is developing an effective explanation through, through theory building. Okay, so research is basically building a theory. When I talk research as a whole component, it's building a theory and then going in detail to it. Then second is applied research, that goes with option number 4, that is exploring the possibility of a theory to use. Applied is basically to use and apply. The third one is action research, and that goes with the option 3, that is improving an existing situation, the keyword improving. And the fourth one is evaluative research, and that goes with option 1, finding out an extent of perceived impact. Since we have not done evaluative research, but it is quite understood, when we are evaluating, we are seeing the impact and intervention of the same. Now there is one more question. Okay, this is again from 2023. Identify the similarities between quantitative and qualitative research. Something that is similar in both of them. Both are concerned with data reduction. Both are concerned with variation in data. Both lay emphasis on contextual understanding. Both lay emphasis on generalization. Both are concerned with answering research questions. See, in certain questions where you have to use a code, okay, you will have to, there are many options, and then again, they are framing certain options and giving you to match them. You will have to use the method of elimination in this question again. So both are concerned with data reduction, okay. The main purpose of research is to reduce and go into a niche area. Then both are concerned with variation in data. Both will have dependent, independent variable. There will be variations in those variables. Both emphasize on contextual understanding. That is no. Both do not emphasize on contextual understanding. Qualitative does, quantitative does not. Both they emphasize on generalization. Again, no, because qualitative is not focused on generalization. It is focused on solving the problem. And very important, any research that you do will have answering the research question. So we eliminate the option C and option B. Then we get option A, B, and E, and that is how your option 4 comes as your correct answer. Okay. Now, another type of research that we have is descriptive research. Somebody had asked me some customer satisfaction question. This is an example, okay, to be more precise. The same example can be used in multiple types of research, but that customer, when I talk about customers and everything, it comes here as an example. So in a descriptive research, it describes a situation, subject, behavior of certain or a phenomena. It focuses on expanding the knowledge on current issues through a process of data collection. When I talk about descriptive research, it talks in detail about a study behavior of a particular population, and it study only one variable is required to conduct the study. It is referred as a questionnaire or an opinion study where we are finding out certain feedbacks, let's say from people. It makes proper and logical description of a subject or a problem by collecting true, realistic, and reliable information through surveys and fact finding. It is closely associated with observation study. The research has no control over any variable. And let's say when I talk about any stock market analysis, okay, market analysis, some customer satisfaction, all of this on this I have no control. I can just launch something and the market automatically will set a trend for it. I have no control over it, how far it will go, okay. Or how something that goes online, or a reel or a thread, you have no control over it. It is all depending upon the market how it will go, okay. What a researcher can do in this case is only report whatever it is there, okay. So descriptive research answers the question who, what, where, when, and how, because it is in description, answers all the questions. In simple words, a descriptive research is all about describing the phenomena, observing and drawing conclusions from it, what happened or what is happening. Example, your national census, market surveys, and these are certain more examples of your descriptive research. Then moving forward, there are three types of research, and all of them are been clubbed under a broader term called as survey research. That we have cross-sectional, longitudinal, and correlational research. So when I talk about cross-sectional research, what is happening in this research? Okay, wait. Let's not study first cross-sectional. Let's first study longitudinal. Then cross-sectional will become easy. What is happening in a longitudinal research, as the name suggests, it's very long, okay. This research goes for years. It can goes for 20, 25 years, 30 years, okay. It sometimes even go on generations calculating research. So what a researcher does is study certain group of people right from their birth, or like let's say right from the age of 5 till the age of 50, and he on any particular topic, that how certain factors or phenomena is impacting a human life. So longitudinal study observes, collect data repeatedly from the same set of subjects. This is very important, because let's say everyone who is sitting here right now, okay, all of us belong to an age group of 25 to 30, let's say. And then uh, till our age of 60 to 70, the same set of individuals will be studied, okay. And we will see what are the changes coming in our behavior, our pattern, or whatever it is there. Certain things are controlled in this thing research, certain things cannot be controlled. In a longitudinal cohort study, the same individuals are observed over the study. One of the major drawback of this study is people who are the subjects, who are the set of this research, get irritated or get bored because they feel their whole life is been monitored, okay. So that is why they are not happy with the research, being part of certain kinds of this research, okay. Cohort studies are mostly done in the field of medicine, psychology, and sociology. Okay, developing a psychology, what all things happen, how a psychology changes at the age of 5, then 10, then 15, 20, 30, 35, and so other. Medicine also, how it impacts, and sociological things. The greatest disadvantage of the longitudinal research is the length of the time. Many a times the set of the people from the subject, okay, they withdraw and in between. So your research is very much dependent on the will wish of this your subjects, okay. So that is one of the drawback. Now, to avoid this drawback, basically, I can say there was another type of research that came into the picture, that is cross sectional research. So rather than studying too many different people, many people for years and years, what I do a cross sectional study. So I have 3 to 4 sets. In one set, I have children from 5 to 10 years of age. In another set, I have children from 15 to 20 years. In third set, I have people from 25 to 30 years of age, and in the fourth set, I have people from 35 to 40 years of age. And this 4 different sets I'm studying at the same time. That is called as cross-sectional research. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to save my time, because I want to study a topic or a concept, a phenomena, or research on a group of people, and I don't want to wait for 50 or 60 years to check it on the same people. So I use a cross-sectional research. Uh, the benefit is that I save time, but at the same time, the drawback is the people who are in this research. Let's say set A 5 to 10 years, set 2 15 to 20, set 3 25 to 30, and set 4 35 to 40. All of them have different income groups, social life, personal life, education, literacy, and all of them have different psychological concepts, their upbringing. So I cannot, one of the factor that is different is all of this factors that I've told is different. So I might conduct a study for a long cross sectional, but it will be different on all these people, because they have different way of life, all of them. Okay, there is in longitudinal, I have the same person, so that is not changing. My that factors remains the same. So it's one way to reduce the time and the rate of morality in a development, and studies to assess different age groups simultaneously rather than using the same age group over an extended period of time. In cross-sectional study, it tests the same theory for the same time. It is based on the assumption that the difference between the age group represent the natural development, and a longitudinal study would have produced the same result. This is one point in a time. At one given point of time, we are analyzing all of them. Sorry, but we are missing on this topic that uh, in this age, in the age of AI right now, a kid of 5 to 10 years behaves differently than the kid who was 20 years back at the age of 5 to 10. Okay, so those factors are not considered. So the example is the study of the benefit of jogging. Multiple measurements are taken in a single point of time, such as testing heart rate, body mass index, blood pressure, etc., are observed in a single point of time. Now, to understand it in a very simple way, whatever I've told you, this you can image, I think, will explain you everything. Cross sectional, at the same time, you are checking all those 4 groups: source 1, source 2, source 3, source 4, all different age group. In longitudinal, your source group is 1, but time is changing. Clear? I hope this picture makes it very easy for you to remember. Perfect. Then we have correlational research. Okay. Now, correlational research study involves non-experimental research. Okay, it's not a experimental research. It's a research that does not take experiment. Uh, it's involve a non-experimental research method aimed at finding statistical relation between 2 sets of variable, uh, with no influence from any extraneous variable. Extraneous variable is a variable. Uh, let's take that example of a coffee or a tea and its relation with the sleep. So when I'm talking that coffee has a direct relation on sleep. Okay, so coffee is my independent variable. Okay, and sleep is my dependent variable, because coffee will have certain impact on my sleep. So my sleep is dependent upon coffee. Now, extraneous variable is a variable that is, I can say, stress, light, sound. These are extraneous variable which I have not considered. ठीक है, ये extra variable है which I have not thought before starting my research. That are extra variable. Okay, so In a correlational study, there are two sets of variables with no influence from extraneous variable. So such variables are not there in a correlational study. In our experimental, we will have this variable, that is extra variable. Extra variable also has certain categories. So correlational can be positive, negative, or neutral as determined by a regression analysis. You don't have to go very in detail with regards to correlational research. The only reason for taking this correlational research is to remember this table or a chart that we have, okay? Because in PYQs they have asked you this question with regards to the uh, range of correlational research. So when we go in detail and do this research, we have a range to be followed, and that range is what they are asking in our examination. To discover relationship among certain phenomena, there is a range that is given from -1 to +1 on the scale of integer scale that we have. Direction is positive direction or negative direction. If we go to positive, it is positive, negative to negative, and a degree. So this is a chart that you should remember, that +1 to -1 is talking about complete correlational. From 0.9 to 0.7 is high correlational, 0.7 to 0.3 moderate, 0.3 to 0.1 low correlational, and 0 is no correlation. That means there is no correlation in that particular research. You don't have to do any calculations or anything. They will just give you this number and ask you, is it high correlational, complete, moderate, low, or no correlational? So this range and degree is something that you will have to remember. So this is a PYQ question that was been asked. Which of the following indicates a high correlational? It should be plus. See, this is the only question that they will be asking you. They will be giving you a range and asking you under which category does it fall. Perfect, Dr. Raval, Namita, correct. Uh, yes, plus 0.85 is falls under high correlational. So this is this one chart that, if you remember, will help you to solve any kind of question. Since it was a part of PYQ, it was important to take. Then comes your experimental uh, research that we also called as casual research, okay? Like, or I can say the cause and effect research, okay? Now this experiment is something that will look at the cause also and effects also, because this experiment will have a very important thing called as variable. The thing that I've explained you in bits and pieces in previous slides, that is these variables, okay? Independent variable, dependent variable, and extra variable, okay? These all variables plays a very important role when I talk about experimental research. And these variables, dependent, independent, and extra variable, are the causes for any experiment that I'm doing, and what will be the effect of the same. It is designed for establishing a causal relationship, and it begins with a question concerning relationship between two or more variable. Variables are basically the factors, okay? In an experimental research, a lot of question is asked from experimental also. It adheres to a scientific research design. It has proper steps, procedure, and everything. Most of the people, you mostly take experimental research to do their research. It investigates hypothesis through experiments in a controlled environment, okay? So for example, the coffee and the sleep, everything is a controlled environment that I'm doing. So I'm controlling my independent variable, which will automatically affect my dependent variable. When a variable can be manipulated, very important in this experiment, because it is mostly done in a lab, or in a lab, in that means in a setup, okay? We manipulate our variables, that are the factors, by the researcher against the variables that can be measured, calculated, and compared. Participants In an experimental research are assigned their subject groups randomly, which means the participant has an equal probability of being placed in experimental or control group. Now, there are two types of group when I talk about experimental or control group. Within the experiment group, you might have heard about many researchers, many research done and outcomings come. Let's say there are two groups. One group, what happens in an experiment and a control group? Control group is basically is a group जिन्हें कहा जाता है that we are giving you medicines, okay, and we will see the effect of this medicines, let's say 3 months later on your health. And there is another group, that is experiment group. The same thing is told to them that we are giving you medicines, we will see the effect of this medicines on you post 3 months. What is happening in a control group? The medicine that is given to the participants in the control group is duplicate. They are actually not giving any medicines to them. It's just like a chocolate that has been given to them. It is not the real medicine, okay, and that group has been controlled. They are not been given the real medicines, it has been controlled. And the another group, the experimental group, is the actual group who are been provided with the medicines, and it has been seen what is the effect of 3 months later. 3 months later, what is the effect of the same thing? Okay. So if the effect comes that the experiment group has shown some positive sign, that means the medicine is working. But if the experiment group is showing no positive sign, that means that medicine, even if you give or you don't give, the experiment and the control group are giving the same result. Okay. So they are taught, yeah, that is what they are telling here, that participants in an experimental research are designed in their subject groups randomly, which means a participant has an equal probability. Either they can be a part of experimental group or a control group. Random assignments help ensure that there is no systematic difference between the group before the experiment. So some condition is applied to the experiment and the control group. There isn't some preference tendency or anything that is to be there in that particular group. Now, three characteristics of experiment group is very, very important. First is, in an experiment group, first we have variable, and that variables can be manipulated. We actually manipulate variables in an experimental research. And what do we manipulate is an independent variable. We cannot ever manipulate an dependent variable. Okay? So I can manipulate the coffee, number of cup of coffees that has to be given. Just hold on. I can just manipulate the number of cup of coffees that I can give to my experiment group. Let's say I will give 2 cup of coffee or 6 cup of coffee. That is my dependent variable. But sorry, independent variable. But I cannot control independent variable. That is my sleep. Okay, I can just control what I'm providing. It can also be termed as the treatment or the intervention that I'm doing. Manipulation of an independent variable must involve the active intervention of the researcher, which is under my control. Second is control. We understand and able to identify the different factors affecting the internal and external validity of an experiment design. In order to make experimental design both internally and externally valid, a check has to be put on the sources of error affecting the dependent variable. This is also called control. Example, sunlight impacts on plant. So if I'm doing an experiment, I am doing an experiment, the impact of sunlight on a plant. I'm controlling it. I am purposely keeping some plants inside the house, some plants in the exposing them to the sunlight and all. So I'm able to control the factors and then see the result out of it. And the third is random assignment. Okay, that is intend to produce that everyone has equal group members, equal similarities. There is no partiality that is to be done with regards to selection of a sample. There's this one question from 2019. Which of the following research formats focus on hypothesis testing and generalization? Perfect. It is experimental research. Okay, perfect. So experimental research is a research in which a systematic and scientific approach has been used, and it focus on hypothesis testing and generalization, because that we have studied right away here. Okay, it's a scientific way. It has step process and everything. Okay, it's a sign. The third point that you can see, scientific research design. Okay, so yes, it focus on testing and also bringing some generalization. That is why we are doing so much manipulation in this research. Another is a small topic, that is case study method. Case study is a method of doing a research. Okay, so case study may be considered as quantitative or qualitative research. It depends on the purpose of the study, how we are doing. As I told you, it's a method of doing a research, like how interviews are there, surveys are there. Similarly, case study is one of those methods. It completely depends how I am taking. So case study, purpose of the study and the design chosen by the researcher. Case studies are not used basically to test hypothesis. Case study methods are used to study one particular person or phenomena, why this thing is happening with XYZ person. As I told you about the case of introvert. So that kind of cases, we understand their whole life history. Uh, Not whole life history, but most of them in detail. When we study somebody's whole life history in detail, examining all the factors of his life, that is called as clinical research. Okay, so data may be collected in case study through various means such as questionnaires, interview, observations, or written record accounts by the subject. This type of research is used in the areas of management, education, philosophy, psychology. It involves deep digging into developments and collecting data. So we go deep down, but going more in deep down is called as clinical research. On the basis of it, there was this one question that was asked in 2023, that what is case study method? Is it a study of phenomena, event, situation, or development in a very simplified and shallow manner, or studying the phenomena, event, situation, development through a true and detailed analysis or intensive study? Or it's a study depends on analysis and response collected through data? Or is it concerned with search for ways using common sense to solve practical problems? Perfect. It's very when I use the method of evaluating, option 3 and 4 is already out. It's only uh, between option 1 and 2 that we will have to focus. And yes, the correct answer is option number 2. Okay, so it's a studying the phenomena, event, situation, and development through a through and detailed analysis and intensive study. It's not a shallow study, but an intensive study. And if it is more intensive study, when they talk about the whole life and connecting all the angles associated with that life, that is called as clinical research. That's a very small difference between clinical and case study method. Any doubt so far? Anyone has any doubt, you can ask. We still have 4 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Okay. So today we did the meaning, types, characteristics, positivism, post-positivism, different types of research methods and types of research. Also, we did qualitative and quantitative methods of research. One of the major topics from where most of the questions have been asked. Tomorrow we will be doing sampling, probability, non-probability, all those types of sampling. What are the steps of a research, and what is thesis and article writing? Even thesis and article writing have certain steps in that. Uh, that will be conducted tomorrow. Any queries so far? Please feel free to ask. Okay, if nobody has any doubt, we can wind up with the session from my end. Okay. And if anybody has any doubt, you can just unmute yourself or ask it in the chat box.